We're standing in front what is known as the Wailing Wall or the Western Wall. Where the Dome of the Rock is today is where the Jewish temple stood, both Jewish temples, the first temple and the second temple that was destroyed in the year 70 AD by the Romans, by General Titus. This is known to the Jews as Mount Moriah, and it is the holiest place for the Jews. And according to the Jewish tradition, this is where the world was created from. This is where the earth to make the first man was taken from. Hence, this is where the Temple of Jerusalem stood. Why is it so important for the Jews? Because this is the closest that one could get to where the temple stood. And inside the temple, one of the rooms was known as the Holy of Holies. And only one person was allowed into the Holy of Holies, and only once a year. That is the great Kohen on the day of Yom Kippur, the holiest day on the Jewish calendar. The Wailing Wall Plaza that we see today is 68 meters, and it is a part of that compound built by King Herod the Great. King Herod the Great reigns in Judea from the year 37 BC until 4 BC. Herod is known for the monumental construction across the land. And we're talking about the magnificent port town known as Caesarea, just north of Tel Aviv of today, the palaces on Masada, Herodian, one of his desert palaces, but the jewel of the crown of the Herodian construction is the Temple Mount that you see behind me now. Archaeologists excavating underneath the houses of the Muslim quarter expose a rock weighing 500 tons. And this is a part of that Herodian building. An average stone in the Wailing Wall or in the Temple Mount compound weighs 5 tons. King Herod the Great will reign in Judea from the year 37 BC until 4 BC. Herod, of course, is known as being a schizophrenic paranoid who kills almost everyone around him. Beginning with the brother of his beautiful wife, Miriam the Hasmonean. His name is Aristobulus. He drowns him in his palaces in Jericho. Then he kills Miriam the Hasmonean herself. And he will continue by killing her mother, Alexandra, his 2 sons from Miriam the Hasmonean, and even on his deathbed, Herod the Great will order the killing of his only son from his first wife, Doris. But Herod is also known for the monumental construction across the land. We are talking about one of the most magnificent port towns in the ancient world, Caesarea, just north of modern Tel Aviv. A full-blown Roman city, complete with a theater and hippodrome, etc. And of course, the palaces on Masada. And he also has palaces here in Jerusalem, palaces in Jericho, but the jewel of the crown of the Herodian construction is right here in front of us. The total renovation of the second temple. It's really the third temple, but we still call it the second temple because the renovation was not a product of destruction. When you visit the Western Wall, the Western Wall of the Temple Mount compound, one must always remember that the prayer plaza, we are looking at 68 meters out of almost half a kilometer, 488 meters from the corner of the Western Wall and the Southern Wall, all the way to the other side, the corner of the Western Wall and the Northern Wall. We do not see most of the Western Wall because it was hidden, it is still hidden behind the houses of the Muslim quarter. And this is what I'm talking about. Herod builds a compound with 4 support walls. The Southern Wall, the Western Wall, the Northern Wall, and of course the Eastern Wall facing the Mount of Olives. As the Romans destroy Jerusalem, the Roman legionnaires take apart a large part of the Temple Mount compound. The stones come crashing down on the street level below. And what we could see here in this sketch, this is the prayer plaza that we see today. 68 meters out of half a kilometer. Another thing we see clearly here in the sketch is that there was a staircase leading into one of the gates leading into the temple. What is left of that staircase, we will soon see, is in the Davidson Archaeological Park, and that is what is left of an arch known as Robinson's Arch, named after the archaeologist who has discovered it. What we will do now is enter the prayer plaza itself and see how the Jews worship.